The Australian Institute of Architecture Awards were held over the weekend with some pretty impressive properties on display and some big decisions had to be made. We're now joined by one of the jury members in deciding all of those winners, and that is Helen Norrie. A big welcome to you, Helen. Thank you for joining us. Let's start tonight on Bruny Island, where there's two houses that have won the residential category, both pretty impressive.
Yeah, fantastic. And the first house, Coopworth, is just an absolutely beautiful project. It's on a working sheep farm, and it's one of the most difficult things where you're siting a building in an open landscape. So the form of the building has to be beautiful because you see it from so many different angles. The clients live in Melbourne and the architect is from Melbourne. And incredibly, the whole building was done during lockdown remotely with the builder every day, connecting with the architect on FaceTime and being able to see what was actually happening on site. But it's a lovely open plan space on the bottom, and it's got more bedrooms up the top.
It's certainly a very interesting colour as well. And then on the other end of the island, a totally different property at Callora Bay.
Yeah, Callora Bay is really interesting because the only spot that they could build in, the whole siting was very limited because of all the bushfire restrictions. So it's a much tighter building that folds in on itself. And it's a holiday house for a family that can be divided so that you can have separation with the grandparents, and it opens out to this really beautiful landscape. Really fantastic.
Separation with the grandparents. Who would have thought that would be a good thing? No, it's certainly very impressive. And now to the awards for the properties that had to actually have an alteration or an addition. What were the jury's decisions there?
Yeah, there were some really excellent projects that were actually in there. And Arthur's Circus, both of them were in Sandy Bay, these two we're going to talk about. And Sandy Bay, the really difficult thing is because it's such a high heritage area. And with this project here, the Arthur's Circus project, they had to hide the building in this very important area. So they buried put the room at the back 1/2 metre below the ground in order to be able to hide it behind the little cottage at the front. And it's an absolutely beautiful space that just sinks into the background. And it's, again, also used by people coming and going from Queensland, and they come down for summer.
I love all the different textures that we use with that one. And then you've got another cottage in Signalman's Cottage.
Yeah, and the difference with this one is it's right out in the public. So it was a project that the clients hadn't been able to work out how to extend to it. And the thing that's really beautiful is this little, one side of it opens onto the park where the signal used to be, and then the other side opens to the street. So they had to find a way of making this very unique facade that fitted with the scale of the context of the rest of the suburb. So it was a very beautiful project, very masterfully put together.
It certainly does look lovely, and we'd all dream of a place like that. But let's move on to public architecture that we can perhaps all enjoy. Really does set up our spaces, and Cumulus Studio had a very big win there with the Cradle Mountain Visitor Centre.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is fantastic. It's a long time coming, this project, because if anyone's been to Cradle recently, it was just really like a big car park. So this is the first stage in a series of projects that if they get the funding up and running for the cable car that will connect across, there'll be more bigger buildings. So it's a little tiny tight building with a big veranda space around the outside so that more people can shelter in the weather. But I think the landscaping is particularly fantastic, and it's just it looks amazing in snow, amazing in all kinds of weather. Yeah, it's a very beautiful little bunker.
It certainly is. And just finally, Circa Morris Nuntua won the Commercial Award for Architecture.
Yeah, and they also won the prize of prize for this project. So this is the second Moss Hotel at Salamanca. So there's one further down the way, and this is actually hidden behind Salamanca. And it's very fantastic. They had to unpick a lot of the building to actually put the rooms back in again. So you get these fantastic shafts of light and greenery, and every one of the rooms is different from each other. They're all really spacious and generous, but all really different in character. And they're just these beautiful hidden worlds right in the middle of Salamanca. Fantastic work.
Yeah, looking forward to staying there one day. Look, thank you so much for your time today, Helen. It certainly has been a pleasure having you on, and no doubt we'll get to do some more stories on some of these amazing properties in the near future.
For sure. Thanks,
Wonderful.
Rachel.
Thank
Bye.
you so much for that, Helen.